You remember how I said this weird shot of my room was probably never gonna happen again, and now I'm lazy and a liar? Hey babes, it's Lilith. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today we are here for another reality shifting video. Today we are talking all about symptoms, both right when you're trying to shift and during the day in between shifting attempts. We have already covered the basis of what reality shifting is, clones, and scripting. If you have not already seen those videos, please check out the link to my reality shifting videos playlist in the description below. And this seemed like the next logical step to be able to get into before I started talking about different shifting methods or telling you my own personal experiences when it comes to using those methods. So without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, we are going to talk about shifting symptoms today. Now, what I mean by symptoms is the things that you feel or experience that have to do with your shifting journey, both when you are in the middle of trying to shift, doing your method if you have one, or, during the day, in between your attempts at shifting. First, we're gonna go through the symptoms that you get during the shifting process. Now, a disclaimer that I want to put on here is not every person that is attempting to shift or even successfully shifting actually has symptoms. If you don't get symptoms, that doesn't mean that you're not getting closer or that it's not working. It just means you might not be the kind of person that gets symptoms. It's like saying not every person who shifts or attempts to shift uses a script. Not everybody has to. Not everybody has to use a shifting method. Some people don't get shifting symptoms. And even if you do, you might not get all of them on the range of possibilities, or you might only get the ones that are during when you're trying to shift and not the ones during the day, or you might get it vice versa and just get the ones during the day and not the ones when you're trying to shift. Everything in shifting is different. Every person's journey and experience is different. Never compare the things that you experience during this to other people, just like you shouldn't compare your shifting experience to others by way of how long it takes to shift or what it's like when you get there. Every person and their shifting journey is different. This is just a list of some of the things you could experience, or that I've experienced, or that other people that I have found in my research have also experienced. So, as far as when you are attempting to shift, you could experience twitching, whether it's like a whole body part or it's kind of like the little nerve jump kind of twitch that you get, like kind of like the really annoying ones that you can get in your eye, or you can get them like in your finger or something. You can get those anywhere. You can get them in multiple parts of your body at once, or maybe they can go on and off and switch around where they're at. Your body can feel really, really tingly, kind of like that feeling of if your foot falls asleep when you're sitting on the toilet for too long. But it could be in your whole body or just in your arms and legs, or maybe just your arms. Your body can also start to feel really heavy, almost kind of like gravity is completely on 100 and like you're being pulled to the floor and you just feel really, really weighed down. Again, this can be a full body thing, or it can be just an arms and legs thing. You can also sometimes feel the complete opposite and feel like your body is kind of floaty and weightless and almost feel kind of like you're floating. Almost like your body feels empty. Basically just a range of different ways of if you feel like you're heavier or lighter. You can also feel like the room is spinning. The way that I like to compare this is if you've ever been to the dentist and had to go on nitrous oxide or laughing gas, it kind of feels like the feeling you get when you're on that. Almost like the room is going round and round like this, or like that feeling you get right before you pass out. Other symptoms that you can experience while attempting to shift that I would say are a little bit more noticeable are kind of ones that affect your senses more than just something you feel on your body. This can include if you hear things that are from your DR that are not happening in your CR. This can include if you feel someone touching you or moving something around you, like as if you're laying in your bed and doing it. Maybe you feel someone pulling at your blanket or touching your sheet or like patting the bed beside you or something. If you hear something from your DR, like if you hear people talking or a fire crackling and there's not a fire around you, or if you're trying to get to Hogwarts and maybe you hear the Hogwarts Express, like if you hear a train or something, maybe if you hear laughter, stuff that just generally isn't around you in your CR. This can also involve smells, like if you've scripted a specific smell that's like your trigger smell for you're about to get there or you've already gotten there. Or even if you haven't scripted a smell and it's just something you know is not in your room. Or even touching, if you feel like you've been tapped or grabbed or kissed, or someone has held your hand, or someone's moved your hair out of your face. If you feel something physically or hear something or smell something, basically something that's affecting you at like a next level, from my legs are kind of tingly to someone grabbed my arm. There are also symptoms that you can get in between your attempts at shifting, like during the day. The biggest one that I hear people talk about are headaches, getting headaches a lot. Also, if you feel tired, even when you've gotten a full night's sleep, especially if you're tired often, especially mentally. If you have a feeling of disassociation or disconnect from your current reality and you feel like you're kind of far off and you're not all the way here. If you feel homesick, if you feel like you are experiencing a feeling of missing something that you don't all the way know yet. Especially, it'll feel more confusing if you haven't all the way shifted yet. A term that I recently found out about on TikTok is the term Heaviness, which, if you don't know it, I think it's such a pretty word, and I think that you should definitely look it up. It is a word meaning homesickness or a longing for a place you cannot return to, or a place that never existed or you've never been to at all. And that's a feeling that I've seen a lot of shifters talking about, is missing a place they've never even been or missing people they've never even met. So if you experience a feeling of Heaviness or, longing or homesickness for places and people and things that you have no connection to in your CR, even if you don't necessarily know what they are, if you're not thinking, oh, I miss this place or this person, you just feel like you're missing things. Or if you feel disconnected from the places and the people around you. Now, this may not happen all the time. It may come and go, or it'll happen every once in a while. Homesickness is something a lot of people have felt. But the most common one I've seen has either been the exhaustion or has been the headaches. I've also seen people saying something about that it's a possibility when you're in this kind of symptom stage to hear or see things from your DR that are not happening in your CR, or sometimes have like really weird dreams, but that it's not shifting. It's just like weird dreams. Not necessarily lucid dreaming either, just like strange dreams. But I wouldn't know how to connect that anyway, because my dreams never make sense. It's always weird, like I'm being chased by a shark through a furniture store kind of stuff, like it doesn't make sense when you say it out loud, but in the moment you're like, holy shit, there's a shark in the furniture store. Something I did want to dive into really quickly while I was thinking about it, because I have had people that have wanted to hear my personal experiences with feeling symptoms, or if I've been touched or heard anything. I wanted to go ahead and mention mine here at the end of this video, especially since this is shorter than my other shifting videos. I have experienced these things. My biggest one that I get during the days between my shifting attempts is I get a lot of headaches. I also experience a lot of homesickness and Heaviness. I have never really heard or seen anything DR-wise, especially not during the day in between my attempts. And I can never really tell if my disassociation is from that or from the fact that I have multiple mental illnesses, which disassociation is really common when it comes to anxiety and depression, so I don't really know which one that is. Also, as far as during shifting attempts, I've experienced a lot of them. I have not smelled anything and I have not heard anything. I did for a while think that I was hearing a train, and then I just realized there's a train near my house, and so I just 86'd that one, so I haven't heard anything or smelled anything. But I have felt all the other stuff. I get the tinglies pretty often. It mostly is contained just to the arms and legs. I don't really get it a lot in the torso. The next most common thing that I get is the body heaviness. Now, the closer I think that I am to success, the heavier my body feels. If I just feel it in my arms and legs personally, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm super close, but it does mean that it's happening. I know that I'm super close when I also feel it in my torso. I also sometimes will get the feeling of being weightless while also being heavy at the same time. It's really hard to explain. It's almost like saying I mentally feel weightless, but physically I feel heavy. Almost kind of like it's like a going this way. Like I emotionally feel like this, but I physically feel like this. I do get the spinny feeling sometimes. I actually did have the spinny feely last night, where it does kind of feel like when you're on nitrous oxide and you feel like the room is going like this. My tip for if that one specifically happens, let it happen. Don't try to get out of it and like ground yourself to your physical form. Let yourself enjoy the ride. See where it's gonna take you. Let yourself be floaty and heavy. I also, some of my more intense experiences, I have been touched a couple of times. The first time that I ever tried to shift was with just the Raven method, my very first night of doing it. and I will go into future videos and talk specifically about the Raven method or the pillow method or the Estelle method, stuff like that. I also currently am in the middle of doing like combined methods. I currently do a combination of the Raven method and the pillow method, but I have also tried the Estelle method and the Julia method. I also tried something that I don't know if it's called like the music method or the song method, but something like that. And I've also tried something I recently found out called the sex method. That's extremely new. From what I understand, it was like just made by someone on TikTok like within the month. And I thought maybe it was BS until I saw people in the comments being like, oh no, this really worked. Like this was really immersive for me. And I'm like, So I'll go into explaining all of those in future videos. But basically the first night that I was ever trying to shift, I was using the Raven method. And at the time, my signal purely was just, I would smell vanilla and then be tapped twice on my right arm if I was close to shifting. And now it's like that, and my eyes will automatically open when I get to my DR. But at the time it was just that, and I was in the Raven method position, you know, starfish, and it was super uncomfortable. I now, to a certain extent, after trying to shift for months now, because these videos are a bit delayed and spread out by way of my experience. Right now, filming this, I believe it is November 11th, and I started doing all of this on September 28th. This particular situation takes place on September 28th. It was the day after my 25th birthday. So I've been trying for over 2 months now, which is fine. There's people who have been trying for over 3 to 5 months and still haven't gotten it. It's not about comparing yourself to others. And I had been laying in the position forever, and I had been listening to subliminals, and I had done my meditating, and I was exhausted, and I was annoyed, and my back was killing me, and I was like, oh, I'm over this. I've been laying in this position for over an hour, and I knew I had been, and I just could not sleep like that. I wasn't, some nights there, I'm tired enough to fall asleep in that position if I'm truly exhausted, if I manage to stay awake through the counting process, but I just couldn't do it. I was so uncomfortable, and I was like, screw it, I can sleep if I lay on my stomach. And I rolled over. Some people say that you can do the Raven method not in that position, but it's highly suggested, so I've been doing it, and it's kind of a mental thing for me to sleep in that position when shifting. And I rolled over, and I was on my side for barely 2 minutes, and I know that because I wasn't all the way asleep. I know that. And all of a sudden I felt scared the crap out of me. Rolled over thinking that maybe I had like fully succeeded, or that my mother was in my room trying to wake me up. And I rolled over, and I was still in my room, and there was nobody there, and it scared the crap out of me. But it was the most audible ever. And I was so scared. I mean, like, it wasn't even just that I felt it, I heard it. It was so terrifying. Then about a month later, after I had started combining the Raven method with the pillow method, sometime in like mid to late October, I think it was near Halloween, but it hadn't hit Halloween yet. Anyway, about a month-ish later, it was like near Halloween, but not quite there, so it was in like late-ish October. I had already combined the pillow method and the Raven method, and I was in the middle of doing these, and I was spread, and I was focused, and I was feeling like light and heavy at the same time, and I had like the spins, and then all of a sudden, someone reached up and on my ankle and like grabbed it. I have the camera shook. If this is my ankle right here, I'm not gonna do this because my wrist is damaged. If this is my ankle, someone literally reached up and went like on my ankle, like on the back, like where my Achilles tendon is. I was so scared. I was more scared than I was with this. Like this, I was just like, that's fucking weird. But then when that happened, I mean, literally, I was at probably about 70 something in my counting when that happened. And when that happened, my heart was beating so hard and so loud for so long. I could hear it out loud, and like I was panting and shaking. I was so scared. I don't know who it was or what it was, but I was scared. I didn't like it. I was not a fan of that feeling. It was so terrifying. Needless to say, I took like I took a break for the rest of the night because I couldn't get back into it. My heart was thumping so bad. I could not continue with my counting. I could not fall asleep for like another hour and a half. I was so shook. I just couldn't deal with it. And then about a month later, in late November, I believe it was, sometime around Thanksgiving, I was trying the Estelle Method, which, to give the brief, essentially that requires you listening to a song that makes you think of your DR and like dancing with like a person who's really important to you from your DR, whether it's like your love interest or your best friend or somebody, and just like dancing with somebody from your DR that's like a really, really important person to you. And I was doing this and I was dancing, you know, in my visualization with this person, but I knew I was still visualizing. I hadn't shifted. I couldn't physically feel anything, and I knew that. And then all of a sudden, I had not scripted this situation, and it was the person I danced with had stopped and was just looking at me, and I was just staring because I didn't understand what happened. I was like, I didn't do this. And then all of a sudden, leans in and kisses me. Here in my CR, I started to feel really weird shit on my mouth, almost like that feeling you get when you're being kissed, like warm and tingly, but just on my mouth. And the person that had kissed me pretty much almost experimentally, like very soft and small, just on my lower lip. And I felt this weird feeling, almost like I had been kissed on my lower lip, and it was warm and it was tingly. And my eyes shut the f open, and I was alone in this room. And I was like, I don't have it. I don't have the sanity for this. I've never gotten the Estelle Method to work other than that. I'm really bad at visualization. That tends to be why I stick more to methods like Pillow and Raven and stuff like that, because I'm really bad at visualization, and if I can do it, it's like for a brief moment. I can't seem to stay in visualization for very long. But the one time that it worked scared me half to death. Last night, I actually got really, really close to shifting, I think. Last night being December 10th. I have 2 scripts that I've been working with. I have like a couple more that like I've been thinking about writing down, but I don't even have them on notes in my phone. I have 2 of them on notes in my phone that are completed, and one that's like slightly started, and then 2 full complete scripts that are written on paper that I fold up and put in my pillow after reading every night for the Pillow Method that I'm actually trying to shift. And I had been working with the same one where I'm a teacher of Muggle studies at Hogwarts, and I had been doing that for like the first month that I had been attempting to shift, and then I swapped out for another month, and then I was like, you know what, I'm feeling in the mood more for the first one, and I went back to the first one. Well, last night I felt this really strange draw to go back to the second script that I had made, which is one where I'm a teacher of Defense Against the Dark Arts. And it's also different than the other script because my love interest is a different person, I'm a different age, I look different, and it's set in a different year. And I just felt this really weird draw to that and to the person that's my love interest in that one for some odd reason last night. And so I tried to do it, and I was doing my counting, and at about 30, I got like full body tingles. I never get full body, only arms and legs, but my torso was tingling, and I was like, okay, cool. And I got to about 50 and the room started spinning, like hardcore spinning. And I was like, I'm just gonna give into it. I'm gonna let it go. I just gotta ride it out. And then I got to about 70 something and my body started to feel extremely heavy. I mean, like it felt like another person was laying on me, or gravity had just like turned up kind of heavy. And I fell asleep while I had the spins, and I felt heavy and tingling. And I've had these symptoms before, not only separately, but together. And they've never been that strong before. So I think that's a really, really good sign. That's pretty much all that I have to say today on different types of shifting symptoms. I'm gonna try to have the next video on this channel be kind of like the road to different shifting methods. And when I start actually properly shifting, I will start doing videos about shifting stories. If you guys liked this video, please push the big red subscribe button below. If you want to be notified of the next time that I upload a video, please push the little notification bell next to the subscribe button. If you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up, share it with anybody that you think might be interested in it. Please feel free to leave a comment on this video if you have any questions, if you want to talk about your shifting experiences, if you want to talk about different symptoms that you've had, or if you have suggestions for like other shifting topic videos for me, that would be great. Remember to please check out the playlist linked below for my other shifting videos if you haven't already seen them. And also below in the description, please check out the links to my other social media, my Instagram, my TikTok, and my Twitter. On my TikTok, you can find a bunch of other shifting related videos like updates that are smaller about my shifting progress, or smaller educational videos or motivational videos, or even comedy videos that are based on shifting experiences. Please check out my Twitter and my Instagram for updates on future uploads and for other parts of my life such as cosplay and witchcraft stuff and Harry Potter mania because I'm a freak. I hope that you guys found this video helpful, and I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Happy shifting. Love you. Bye.